if you got a dollar, won't just lousy down. You know that I got rhythm that could suit your budget fine.
All right, it is a crappy day to be visiting the Rustic Fox Furniture and Decor. Haven't done a live video in a while, so taking a tour of the Rustic Fox. So this is Junkology for all. Always showcase their booth, partly because I really like their aesthetic and partly because it's right across the aisle from mine. So I see it a lot and always notice what they've done to change it and what they've added. This great display of the printer press letters, I think just as a cool looking. It would look great in an industrial design, you know, in an interior design. This tower of records, if you paid really close attention when I did the deep dive with Katie from Vintage and Vinyl, she talked about vintage vinyl. I actually grabbed a shot of this, a still from this still tower, and I used it as the background thumbnail for that video because I did not have a vintage vinyl collection myself. This other area, I think I might have showcased this piece before, but these keychains I find pretty cool, just partly because, again, I get advertisements from companies that are reproducing vintage, and I always want to be really sensitive to, you know, making sure that what I'm carrying is legit vintage. And these are legit. They make new ones that say like Bates Motel and, you know, funny things like that. So it's fun when I see these, and I really hope people recognize that what real vintage is compared to fake vintage. Again, that beautiful stained glass window backdrop is absolutely amazing. I'd not noticed these. There's two of these. This is the Southern Hemisphere globes up in the corner, the globe light, and the other corner is the Northern Hemisphere. I don't know if those are new or if I just had missed them. The Scrabble tiles, I will admit, the day I filmed this, I was working and probably with one of my coworkers spent about 20 minutes going through this bin trying to find a letter Y. Never found it. They were out of Ys. But they still get some great vintage collection here and just love the booth. So I wanted to highlight this booth because I think I showed it in an earlier video for the grand opening, but it wasn't quite fully set up at that point. And they've since moved in. It's Porch View Vintage. You can find them on Instagram. And they carry a lot of the same aesthetic that Junkology does and that I do, for that matter. There's just some great antique tins, some serving pieces, some brass, some aluminum, wall decor. They've started already putting their Christmas in there, so it's always fun to see what people are highlighting for Christmas, and they've got some great vintage Christmas pieces. It's a fun booth to explore because they also do a lot of smalls, so there's just always something to look at every time I go by their booth. I definitely want to check it out. They're only 2 booths away from me, so the Rustic Fox has done a really nice job of mixing up you know, the vintage and spreading it around the store. This is their next door neighbor, and this is the Bumble and the Bee, who used to be at the other mall that I'm at, and they moved to this one, and I hope they're successful because they have fun stuff as well. I don't think I've showcased this one before. I think they were here when we first opened, but I'm 100% not confident. But it's Frankfurt Candle Company, and what they do is they have a great mix of vintage items that they have now turned into candles. So, you know, the Daher tin there, you got the tea tin behind it, some votives that they legitimately just, you know, turn back into candles, but then some, you know, other containers, powder containers. This one's an old candy container, Gilbert's Caballeros chocolates. And it's just this great aluminum box that ends up making a really massive candle. That probably weighed a pound or two. They're all woodwick candles, so they're really high quality and just a variety. In some cases, they've got multiples, but a lot of them are one of a kind because they're using vintage pieces. So Frankfurt Candle Company, and on Instagram, that's how you can find them. It's Frankfurt Candle Company. I apologize for this booth because I actually entered the booth from the back side, and I didn't realize that when I was doing the video. They were not open during the grand opening, and I watched them build up their booth, and they set it up in a neat way because they kind of created a long alleyway of vintage, and they just have some really neat pieces in it, some really unique pieces, one of which that I think is just the coolest is actually their logo, their sign. It's this old door. Chapter 22 shows their Instagram. It's a really cool booth. I am aware that I use the term favorite booth a lot in some of my videos and Instagram, but this one really does earn its call out as one of my favorites. It is one of the largest booths in the store, and they have such amazing statement pieces in it, adding the 14-foot Christmas tree, so they will not be outdone for Christmas either. They've got some great legitimate vintage, this old like 8-foot long chenille covered sofa, probably from the 60s. Another sofa maybe from the 50s opposite, an awesome bench they're using as coffee table. Unfortunately, the day I was here, she was kind of changing around her autumn decor to turn it into Christmas, so it didn't showcase it the best, but it's the Quirky Haven. So, checking out number 17 vintage. This is the booth of Suzanne McLean, and she was here earlier today, but now that the shop is closed, music is off, I can actually do some videos. She's got a great aesthetic, and she's actually bought some items from me. We've got a system now that when she buys something from my live sale, I hide it behind my hutch in my booth, and so she doesn't have to pay for freight. So it works great, and we don't have to coordinate meetups. She refreshed a few things. She's in the process of expanding to the space next to her. They're in the process, you can see the wood on the floor, of building another wall. I think there's actually going to be a wall right behind this counter here, or this table here, but then she's moving into that space there. So she'll have a little bit more room to be able to, because she's also selling furniture. But right now she's got some great pieces. These two swans are a new addition. I saw those the minute I walked into her booth. Absolutely gorgeous. A lot of fall colors. Not really decorated for fall. I didn't really decorate for fall either. But just, a lot of amber glass, a lot of greens. It'll just be a matter of time before, probably she'll take the little silk flowers and stuff out. But I don't think, even if that doesn't sell, I don't think that candle holder / swung glass pitcher is going to be taken out of the booth. It'll sell regardless of the season. But she does have, some concentration of her red, and with the plaid, with her thermos bottles. She also has some medicine bottles similar to mine. So again, we actually have a very similar aesthetic, and really love, and I've actually shopped her booth a couple of times, and she shopped mine. So it's a really nice balance. Taking a look at number 17 vintage. So, of course, with a new video, I'm going to showcase my own booth. So not a lot has changed. I'm in the process of trying to bring some Christmas. It's not really fair to say process. I've only got a couple of items at this point. I need to come in and really refresh a bunch of things. Brought some new items today. This Royal Hager orange peel pitcher was actually in my home until something better took its place. So I brought it into here to sell because, I probably could ship it. It wouldn't be completely out of the question, but I'd rather sell it here if I can. I just picked up that Fitz and Floyd Apple pitcher. That's dated 1989. I just picked that up when I was on vacation. So happy to have that. My Sin carts, one of the actual carts sold, so I only have one Sin cart, and so that is holding all my cocktail, vintage cocktail merchandise. So I had to bring in, I had a bookcase that I brought in, and this basically started holding the gambling and Tobacchiana collections. Not really happy with the way this looks. Everything's very low. I need to bring in some easels, some stands to kind of prop some of the ashtrays up. But what I think I might actually do is that might be where some of the Christmas gets stored, because as I change things in the booth, the one area that's not getting a lot of activity is my restaurant ware. I had quite a bit of it, and some of it has sold, but
I still have a lot left. So I think the restaurant ware, I mean, at this point, you can even see some of my prices, $6, $5 for the restaurant ware ashtrays. The White Castle mug is $5. The Steak and Shake is $6, a little $5 for a little berry bowl. So I don't think the prices are out of the question. I mean, they're definitely lower than what you'd pay on eBay when you consider what you'd pay for shipping. I think some of my individual creamers have sold, but still have 2 of those. So I think what I'm going to do is clear out this section and bring some of the tobacco and gambling area over here so I can free up that bookcase. The other thing I need to reconsider are the creamers. The regular creamers, not restaurant ware, are not selling at all. Those are the same display I've had pretty much since I opened. So at least the lusterware will probably move to my Etsy shop. I think those would sell on Etsy. Might sell a couple of the individual creamers in my live sale, but free up those hooks. I'm in the process of talking to a macrame artist that I might give her some of my pieces, and she will create macrame hangings to hold the vessels that I've got. So there'll be vintage vessels and new macrame, and I think they'd look great hanging from these hooks. So, in the process of just changing. This is probably going to change to entirely serving pieces. I'm in the process of shutting down my booth at Vintage Marketplace. So I'm going to have all of my teapots. There's all the sugar and creamer sets got sent over there. So I might try to fill that and then put some holiday decor around it, just to, make it festive. I still need to make my signs for my drawers. Luckily people figured out that the utensil drawer needs to be left open, but I don't even know if people are looking at the other 2. I haven't sold anything, so I need to make my signs. Some more hooks on this side that can be turned into macrame hangers. Gonna start moving some of the fall items out, so that big platter might stick it around because that'll be a good Thanksgiving platter. It's not really Halloween. The other area that's not selling is my medicine bottles. I've sold a handful of them, but I still have a lot. And then all of the medicine chest stuff. So the first aid kits, Band-Aid. There's another vendor within the store that has the same Band-Aid tin, and their price is twice as high as mine, and theirs hasn't sold, mine hasn't sold, so I just don't know if there's much of a market for that. So I might put those onto my live sales and sell those. Still got my hand sanitizer that's going down, so people are using it. Hope they appreciate it. Definitely the postcards have gone down. Probably have to look through those. I might just do a box lot on eBay or in a live sale for what's left, because I think some of the really good ones have gone, and I'm not sure how many people care about Port Huron, Michigan. So we got the cocktail cart. I only have the one. And this is also one of those areas I need to figure out a better way to display because it's starting to look kind of junky. Get some more layers. I brought in some of those cake stands thinking that would help, but with everything being glass, it kind of all merges together. So I've got to maybe simplify that down a little bit, go for the less is more category, and then move if you really paid attention in the past, my cradle got moved to the front of the booth because the games were selling pretty well. So I brought in the games and I opened the books up and put them in here because the little container they were in, it was hard to sift through them. So a few more things have sold, it looks like. But so that'll be an area. And it's really just a matter of, I've only been here a month and a half, so figuring out what people are looking for and making sure that I can provide it. But pretty happy so far. I was eyeing a bunch of items in this booth. This is the Red Rooster Relics, and they again just have some great vintage, some vintage inspired pieces mixed in. This fantastic, this is probably more contemporary modern. This probably weighs, I picked it up earlier, probably weighs like 5 or 6 pounds. This glass ginormous paperweight display piece. Loving that. I have a globe display in my room, so I was really looking at that map. But the other one that I was really looking at was that blue globe, because I need to do a little research on it. I want to say that's one of the gemstone or the stone globes, where each of the countries is a different stone, and I'm almost positive that's what it is, but I don't remember the labeling being done that big on it. It's an attractive piece, and it's only $22. So if it's a genuine stone globe, that is like literally a tenth of what those things sell for. So I don't think it is, but it is kind of a cool piece, and I just have to look to see what I've got. I would have to take something else off of my shelf. So I didn't pick that up today, but it's still here, so we may. They've got some great glass pieces as well. Their signature, the Red Rooster, is here. A fantastic Hollywood Regency candelabra chandelier, electrified, not in the booth, but you can see that those are real light bulbs. But then they also just had this great, first of all, they had a great table. I was actually eyeing the table as well, but some great pieces on here, and just each one of them is a great price. Not really a great price for me to pick up to resell, but like this family of ducks is $14. So it's a really good price. Oh, I didn't even see the little swung glass vase that was hiding here. Wow, that's only $14. That's a great price for the bud vase. I'm not really adding any more green or blue into my swung glass collection. Otherwise, I'd definitely pick that up. So, it's a great space. And again, some mix. Like I actually have one of those signs. I got it probably 3, 4, 5 years ago from maybe Michael's. Maybe it's Hobby Lobby. I can't remember. But it just fits. It's still vintage inspired. And then they do have just, some great legit vintage as well. So I just love shopping this booth as well. All right, one of my favorite booths. I worked the store today and I found myself wandering into this space every time I walked by, because I just love exploring all what they've got for the different types of wooden boxes. Two I've got my eye on. They've got that explosives box up at the top, and another high explosives dangerous box down at the bottom. And they're each, I think the top one's 48 and the bottom one's 58. So really good prices on them. The school book box that they had, one of the bigger crates, that unfortunately sold. That was fantastic, but out of my price point. But I always like looking at the Red Goose shoes goose. Just a nice store display piece. That's been here since the beginning, so I'm surprised it hasn't sold, but it takes the right kind of customer to recognize, it's worth every penny of the $165. But not everyone knows when they walk into the building that they're looking for a red goose. The Burlington route, I didn't even see that. Kerosene, the oil can, possibly. I'm not sure what that would have been used for. Let's see if I can walk into the booth without knocking anything over, because if I knocked this over, it would probably kill me. So Burlington route, railroad tin. It's only $125. Good price for that. Doesn't exactly say what it's for. And it looks like it's got a spout to it. So if you know what that is, put it in the comments, because I am actually kind of curious. I don't really know Railroadiana, that much. I don't know if Aaron from Real Nifty Vintage is watching. He might know, but if anybody knows what that is, I would be kind of curious. And $125 for the aesthetic of the piece, it seems like a reasonable price. But I have no idea, what those would typically go for. I've also eyed this egg scale. I just think it's a really cool piece, not necessarily unique, but some great graphics on it that are still in good condition, and just for the right, in the right environment would look great. So again, just this great industrial look, mixed. They've got some smalls, mixed in with it. So there are different price points that attract everyone, including this phone, which I've been eyeing for a while. The only thing that keeps me from picking it up, not the only thing, it's a decent price, and it is an older phone, but it's been adjusted with the newer sticker on it with the area code. The phone itself, I believe, predates area codes, and I could tear this off, but this does, legitimize the vintage. It's not of the era of the phone. So that's just me being weird, but I only have 2 slots left in my display area for my phones, so I'm being kind of persnickety of what phone I bring in. But again, a great booth, some great selection, and a lot of fun to explore every time I work or come in. Not everything in the Rustic Fox is vintage. There's some great makers that operate out of the space as well. This is a girl and her pug Woodworks, and just some fantastic cutting boards, charcuterie, cheese boards, all kinds of great pieces that even if you were to hang them while they're not in use, they just kind of becomes little works of art right there with it. She's got her little sign, food safe finishes, made in small batches. I actually grabbed her card. I may be asking her to do a custom piece because I would like a longer board similar to that one, but I want with the handles, but I want the black handles, but I'd like it possibly done with that, with the walnut instead. So they've got this great cherry piece with the raw edge, and I do really like that. But I don't think that's going to look as good. I want it for the dining room table in front of that piano. So the quarter sawn oak, I don't necessarily need to replicate the oak, but that dark walnut I think would look really good. So I might be reaching out to her for a custom piece. But she also has some smaller ones as well. So again, trying to give a variety of price points for a variety of buyers, whether you're buying for yourself or as a gift for someone else. If you know my channel at all, you know that I'm a big fan of pottery, and so I definitely check out Mother Potter every time I come in. She's got some great pieces, and just the labor that would take to create these little chrysanthemum wall-hanging flower arrangement it just blows my mind that somebody could do that and then apply them even on these little tiny vases as well. So some great pieces. I follow her on Instagram, so you can see here, Facebook and Instagram, Mother Potter. She's prepping her holiday Christmas collection, so she'll be doing trees. So I can't wait to see what she replaces the pumpkins with to add and get us all into the Christmas spirit.
So, hope you enjoyed another tour of the Rustic Fox. If I did the entire store, this video would be hours long. So, I cut it off, trying to keep it under half an hour. I feel guilty missing some of the other booths, so I'm going to try and do a couple other videos or maybe highlight some specific items. But for now, hope you enjoyed it, and hope you get a chance to maybe someday visit it. It is in North Aurora. You can find them on Instagram and Facebook under Rustic Fox Home, and I'll include the link in the notes for this video. So again, thank you for your time, and thank you for putting your trust into Trusty Huckster. Bye-bye.
Well, show me a sign if you're wishing me to stay. Otherwise, I say goodbye and finish out the day. And that sunrise in the morning and you got nothing to say. Oh, that's when I'll be headed on my way. Hey, hey, I hope I can abide by your area codes, and I'm bound to wander down that endless road. Give me a good deal on something I can use. Make me an offer that I just can't refuse. When that sunrise in the morning and there's nothing there to do, will probably be the last time I see you. Woo-hoo, I hope I can abide by your area code, and If I had a dime for every time I felt this way, you know I'd have $1 million and a couple bucks in change. Sure was nice to know you. Oh, maybe I'll catch you on a New York train. Or maybe I'll never see your face again.